Going live from the Salt Lake City airport, so pardon the noise. I'm sorry I wasn't able to go live this weekend. I was in Idaho, so enjoying some mountain time with my husband. But I have a bunch of stories we have to get through today because so much has happened just in the past couple of days. All right, so first story, breaking news. This is according to the latest analysts, nearly 1 year. So do you remember in end of June, June 24th, which I hope you'll be joining me in Washington, D.C. for National Celebrate Life Day. Since last June, since the Dobbs decision, nearly half the country now bans abortions by 12 weeks. This is huge. The left is completely losing their minds, as you can see on the news every night, and as we can see on college campuses. But this is great news. We have a lot more work to do, as you all know, especially in states like South Carolina and Nebraska, where their legislators kind of disappointed us this legislative session and could have done more and didn't go the extra mile. So we've got a lot more to do, especially in those states where we should be able to see abortion completely restricted by next year if GOPers get their act together and stand courageously for the preborn. But this is fantastic news. Only 1 year since the reversal of Roe v. Wade, and nearly half of the states in the country are saving babies. All right, next article. So I saw this weekend. I talked with our team about it yesterday. I haven't seen the Little Mermaid yet. We want to take my daughter to go see it. And I know there's been controversy about the casting or whatever. I don't really care about that. But this New York Times writer, and I actually pulled up his name because I feel like this is so stupid I should say his name. Writer Wesley Morris. He actually wrote a review slamming The Little Mermaid, which, by the way, is rated PG, so something you could go take all your kids to. He said it did not have enough mystery, risk, or kink for his liking. Just think about what he said, kink. It didn't have enough kink for his liking. Unbelievable. This is a kid's movie. I can't even believe his editors at the New York Times let this go through and didn't say, hey, let's pause on saying that. I mean, this is pedophilia is what this guy is talking about. He's mad that there wasn't kink in a child's movie. It was, well, I mean, I guess it's a good endorsement for me to take my daughter now because there is no kink. And this Wesley is upset about it. So, okay. All right, next story. All right, so this is a big victory for us. You haven't heard about, most people aren't talking about this. I'm going to be talking about this because I do think it's important. So there was a battle in Oklahoma last year. Our team at Students for Life Action helped to pass a Life at Conception Act, which prevents all abortions in the Sooner State. It's a big deal. Immediately, the left got very angry about it. But this year, there's actually been pro-life people in the state advocating that we should change our Life at Conception bill. That's already been signed into law, that already went into effect, that Oklahoma should change its abortion laws to go from allowing no abortions, only, to help save the life of a mother, which we won't consider abortions, not a direct taking of innocent human life. No, they actually advocated, some of these pro-lifers said that they thought that the state laws should now allow abortions in discriminatory circumstances if a child was conceived via sexual assault or incest. Unbelievable. Okay? I have never in 18 years of serving in the pro-life movement full-time seen an actual pro-life organization and pro-life activists actually trying to amend pro-life laws that ban all abortions to then add some abortions in. I could go on. I don't want to. What you need to know is our team of Students for Life Action got busy. We worked with legislators on the ground, and we defeated this proposal that is not happening. So it's a big victory for us. And I think it's a big victory for the pro-life movement because you're going to see this over and over again. As we've seen for years, the left has tried to justify their extremist positions on abortion using the tragic circumstances of rape. And we need to be very clear that we don't support discrimination and killing human beings simply because of who their fathers are. And I mean, history's going to look upon us and ask what's wrong. We've tried second class citizenship in our country before. Throughout a lot of our history, we said that children conceived out of wedlock weren't full human beings or couldn't get the same rights to education or to own land. And that didn't work out so well. And we all kind of, can unanimously agree that that was wrong. So we should be agreeing that killing children conceived and rape is also equally wrong. All right, this is an interesting story. Okay, Megyn Kelly came out thankfully and blasted Always. They make tampons, maxi pads, because they have this new puberty pamphlet for girls, and in the pamphlet they refer to women as quote bodies with female sex organs. So they wouldn't even say the word women, yet that's their clients. It's crazy. The wokeism of some of these companies is insane. They're willing to not even acknowledge who their clients are because they're so afraid of the LGBTQ left. It's unbelievable. So good on Megyn Kelly. We need to keep exposing this insanity. All right, miffed by drag queen nuns. This Los Angeles Dodgers, I think he's the pitcher. Yeah, he's pitcher. Clayton Kershaw published this viral letter condemning the LA Dodgers for inviting a hateful, group that, openly promotes bigotry towards Catholics and Christians to the Dodger Stadium. He's calling and he's worked, I guess, with the LA Dodgers for this Christian Faith Day, which will be the end of July, which I think a lot of us would probably say it's a little too late, too soon, because the Dodgers they're giving an award and allowing the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to perform at LA Dodger Stadium. And this is baseball's a family game. It's sick. I was actually in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and my husband and I were waiting to go into a restaurant, and we were listening to couples talk about this controversy. And so this is being talked about all over, even in the mountains. When people are on vacation, people are aghast that the LA Dodgers would do this. So keep up the pressure on the Dodgers to reverse course. All right, last story, and this is an important story. So the left, I've been talking about this for a couple months. The left has been looking for, and it's horrible to even have to say this. The left has been openly looking for cases where women have been injured or have died or have almost died for carrying a pregnancy to term in a Republican state, in a state that prevents abortions. They don't care about in a blue state. They only care about in a Republican state. Why, do you ask? Have they been looking for these stories? Because what they're doing is they're trying to look for a woman that they can blast her story all across America as a reason why we should be preventing abortions. This is the playbook they used in Ireland just a few years ago to legalize abortion throughout all of Ireland, taking the tragedy of one woman, some poor prenatal care that this woman received, and use that to push for legal abortions throughout all of Ireland. So they've been very clear. They've been looking for this since literally the day of the Dobbs decision, the day that Roe died. So the latest attempt from the left was in this ABC News article that just came out. I saw it this morning. Tennessee woman gets emergency hysterectomy after doctors deny her early abortion. So she's in Tennessee, which does not allow abortion, thanks to their state legislature and their voters who voted for pro-life legislators. She has a high-risk pregnancy. The doctors treat her and her child as two patients, which they should. They ended up delivering the child early. The child survives. The mother survives. All's great, right? You think, this is an amazing story. Well, this woman, in an attempt to save her life, they did have to perform an emergency hysterectomy, which means she will no longer be able to carry to term other children, which is tragic and sad. I won't deny it's not. But her baby's alive and she's alive, right? She's publicly going out, telling her story, and it's kind of sad. It's like a mom, an anti-abortion activist, a pro-abortion activist posing as a mother, because she's telling her story as if she regrets the fact that her baby is alive, that if doctors would have only been able to kill her baby, she would still have, her uterus, so she could have more children. But what about the baby, right there? The picture that she has. it's a really twisted story because the story had a good outcome, a positive outcome. Yet she's trying to twist it as if her child shouldn't have been born alive at all. It's really it's sad. It's when your ideology like trumps being a mom. It's crazy. And what's interesting is part of the article she's talking about how her child could have challenges because her child was born early, which is true. Children who are born premature can have physical or mental challenges as they grow up. However, that's not a reason to kill them. And by the way, if the left really cared about premature birth, they would be joining us in the pro life movement because the leading indicator of premature birth is past abortions. That's a common sense thing. Even pro choice OBGYNs know that's why they ask you when you go in to an OBGYN's office, your first appointment, you say, I think I'm pregnant. One of the first questions they ask you is how many live births, how many miscarriages, and how many abortions have they had? Because they know the risk factor is so high for premature birth if you've had an abortion because your cervix has been opened when it wasn't ripe, right? So this is a tragic story. Shame on ABC, quite frankly, for promoting it. This is a beautiful little girl who's alive today, and the story had a happy ending, thank God. Yet they're trying to use it to call for all abortions to be legal in Tennessee and throughout America. So shame on them. I'll be back tomorrow from a quieter place, I promise, with the Pro Life Gen News. Thank you all for tuning in.